Only. Ah! Bros, you can't trash the house like that. My parents are gonna be home in 10 hours, bros. Oh no, how could this happen? I thought I could have a party because my parents were out of state, but now the entire school has come. There's no way I'll be able to clean up the house by the time they're back. Oh no! And so many wacky things happened. I almost lost my virginity with the sexiest girl in the school. Chandler got arrested. Shit is crazy, bro. It's funny because like Gen Alpha will never actually have their own generation's version of like those stupid Hollywood comedies because they don't make them anymore. Because Hollywood has no fucking idea what to do with budgets. The party was an elaborate ruse to get a hand job. Bro, you gotta lose your virginity by your 18th birthday or else you're a loser, dude. I know. We should throw a huge party. And then Stacy will show up and she gives anybody a hand job. As long as you get her drunk enough. Oh wow, that's a great idea. Hey BB, shouldn't you just ask for a hand job from Becky, who is your best friend, parentheses, female, since you were a child? And is oddly close to you? No, it's okay. We'll just throw a huge party and get Stacy to come. And then 12 hours later, I learned a very important lesson about being honest to my parents and also my feelings to my best friend, female, who was always with me my entire life through thick and thin, and could have probably given me a hand job if I asked her politely. Also, we had a lot of funny moments when we smoked weed. Weed is so funny, guys. It's the funniest thing on the planet. Zoomers respect women too much for this. You know that it's impossible to get copies of Revenge of the Nerds? Has any of you guys seen Revenge of the Nerds? Because it was easily available back in my day in your local VHS rental store. Some of you don't know what that is, but it was a building in which there were all these video cassettes which you would borrow and then you would take back after a week. So the reason why Revenge of the Nerds is not available is because a lot of the ways in which the nerds get revenge on the jocks is by sexually assaulting the jocks' cheerleader sorority girlfriends and committing federal crimes by I believe they put cameras in the sorority house, and then they also use revenge porn and sell they sell like whipped cream cakes on paper plates during like the school festival or something, except on every paper plate there's a photo of the sorority girls' naked boobs printed, so people are eating all the whipped cream so they can look at the girls' tits. Unfortunately, our younger generation of boys doesn't see the hilarity in committing sexual assault on somebody's girlfriends to get back at them, so I don't think we're going to have access to this video. That's a no-no for today. It's also literally a crime, but yeah. Back when in the 80s or whatever, when they made the movie, it was all good fun. Oh, and I believe this incredible act of privacy violation makes the cheerleaders realize that the nerds are actually good guys and they start dating them. I can't remember how it actually happens. But I think the nerds successfully NTR the girls away from the jocks or something. I can't remember. I watched this when I was like 12 or something, and I was shocked that I was allowed to see boobs, but you know, my parents weren't up to speed on what movies I should be watching, so it was considered hilarious. They legit found nothing wrong with this even in the early 2000s. It was all good fun, guys. It's okay because there was no social media, obviously. I mean, there is actually like a serious part of that. This is also impossible to understand, but a lot of colleges, until the internet, had things like naked runs, in which students would just like run around. They just just go on like a naked marathon, like it was like a naked mile or something, and that included females running naked. And everyone was just like, haha, this is good fun to do as a college student. And then the internet was invented, and it meant you would have a digital tattoo of your naked tits for the here to eternity, and everyone would be able to look at your nipples forever. And then all the colleges stopped doing that, so... Sexual assault and revenge porn is a way to stick it to my bullies. See, if we're doing the modern version of Revenge of the Nerds, we wouldn't have this like female characters in between the nerds and the jocks. It would just be produced by our finest female yaoi doujin authors, and then the entire story would be about the nerds fucking the jocks in the ass. And nobody in society would be like, maybe we shouldn't publish this. This is rape, because, you know, people don't say that about yaoi doujins. That's what makes them awesome. Started college at the advent of Facebook, and remember people getting compromising videos posted. Surveillance culture is fun. It took people like a good year and a half to figure out that maybe they shouldn't be like posting their boobs on the internet, because then everybody can share it. It took a while. There was a brief period in which people were like, LMAO, there's no way that this video of me having, you know, sticking this carrot up my ass will ever come back and haunt me when I try and join a prominent law firm. This will definitely not hurt my internship. Modern stories wouldn't involve men in any major role. It would be nerdy girls glorifying themselves. It was until like a year ago, but apparently Hollywood has lost all their jobs and they're like crashing, and like 40% of like revenue is down or some shit like that, so we're probably gonna have a recalibration of that as well. Pretty much every Girl Boss franchise has failed pretty miserably, so I don't think that's gonna stay like that. We're probably gonna have like, this pendulum always swings in the opposite direction, so we're just gonna have the opposite version of that now, probably, as it tends to be. There's a movie about nerdy girls girl bossifying themselves, the one of the nerdy sorority with Anna Faris. You're gonna have to say the title because I have no fucking idea. what you're talking about. Was that a recent movie? I haven't seen like a school comedy in years now because I'm old as fuck. The House Bunny. Wasn't that like... That was like 2005, wasn't it? Yeah, 2008. Jesus Christ, my memory is being used for the most meaningless shit. I was ejected from the Playboy Mansion. Aspiring centerfold Shelley signs on to make over the hopelessly uncool sisters of a struggling sorority. Yeah, you know those totally uncool, nerdy sororities, guys. Full of just girls who spend all their time studying every day. It has a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. There was a brief period between like 2004 and 2010 in which Hollywood was like, what if we made movies about blonde sluts or blonde Stacy, you know, sexo girls, but it turned out they were actually smart and they weren't stupid at all. And then, but they were also fashionable and cute and sexy as well. So you had stuff like The House Bunny, and you had Legally Blonde and shit like that. What the fuck are movies anyway? Has there ever been any since 2020? The only movies that are left are K-pop Demon Hunters and Demon Slayer. So I guess the only movies we have are movies made in Asia or movies parodying Asian cultural phenomenons, and they both have to be about hot girls murdering demons or something. I think that's all we have left. A24 experiences that are a coin flip. I haven't seen an A24 movie in a while. I did see Uncut Gems. I do enjoy movies that are set like in very specific places where they actually film on location. In this case, New York, whatever district, I forgot what it's called. The last movie I watched was the Uma Musume movie. Yes, here we are. In 2025, this is where we are. People just want to watch sports movies about their favorite horse girl gambling cell phone game and watch hot-blooded, cute and sexy horse girls run very quickly. Sinners was decent. My biggest problem is I just don't want to go to the theater anymore. My movie theater that I liked got closed down, so I don't want to drive all the way to another movie theater. The next multiplex is like 20 minutes away instead of 5 minutes away, which is enough of like a distance decay for me to just not go to the theater anymore. I watched Sinners on my last flight. It was pretty horny and gory. 11 out of 10 would watch again. I do definitely watch movies on my intercontinental flights when I go to Japan. Except every single time I get on the airplane, I'm always like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to watch all of the Harry Potter movies. I have enough time. We're going to bang one out. And I always fucking fail because it's too painful. And instead I watch Goodfellas for the 30th time because for some reason they always have Goodfellas in their in-flight entertainment system. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'll just watch Goodfellas. And then I fucking watch Goodfellas. Oh, speaking about the current generation only watching horse anime, I posted this on my Twitter post announcing this stream, but I just got back from the gym and there was like a 6'2" blonde Chad Thundercock high school guy like fucking doing bicep curls, except he was wearing a black and white t-shirt, which was probably like an off-brand Jujutsu Kaisen, like made in America t-shirt. And on the back of the shirt, it has the scene with Gojo and like the Sukuna Rashomon battle scene. And on the front of the scene, it says Gojo and Sukuna, except instead of saying Gojo and Sukuna normally, it said this, except in katakana. And I was just like, bro, nobody has told him. Somebody needs to tell this dude, unless I'm the one who's being baited and he's actually like a prominent shipper and he knows exactly what he's doing. This is the funniest shit. He probably just thought that the X in between the names was just like a cool, fashionable thing. Perfect chance to tell him you like his gay pride shirt. No, I should approach him and be like, sir, I support your opinion, the right for you to express your opinion, but I happen to be an expert on this subject, and I'd just like to say that the Gojo Sukuna shipping is completely unrealistic. Instead, Sukuna Gojo is a much more highly realistic male penetration scenario. Perhaps if you reread the interpersonal relationships between the two characters, you would understand better of who will be doing the ass penetration. There's always a third option. He's memeing. I'm pretty sure he wasn't memeing and he just didn't know what was going on. If he was memeing, it's funny. There's also the full possibility that the people who make the t-shirt themselves don't actually know what the X means. It definitely looked like it was an off-brand, non-licensed t-shirt. There's a chance that, like, whoever is the t-shirt producer just is basing the t-shirt off of AI text and shit. And if there's one combination of text that has a lot of AI data on it, by searching the internet, it's, you know, Gojo Sukuna yaoi porn, so... Gojo Utahime is kinda sexy, but that would be heterosexual. We're talking about pure man-on-man sex, not disgusting heterosexual relations. Please don't ever talk about that horrible shit again. Only pure homo sex here. Is it Gojo Sukuna or Sukuna Gojo? Well, this t-shirt was Gojo Sukuna, but there are many differing opinions on it. We can go to eHentai right now and look up Gojo Satoru. Well, here's our first image. Sensei, これが修行ってマジですか? This is a training doujin, unofficial fan book, Gojo Satoru multiplied by Yuji. Bigger tits than mine. Pec sizes only achievable if you are naturally in a gay porn doujin, of course. So that's the one at the top of the list right now. So we go Gojo and Itadori, some Maki, Gojo, Itadori. This also seems Gojo as Seme. Wow, man. The main character of Jujutsu Kaisen just seems to be like taking cock in his ass in all of these dojins. It's all Gojo Seme and Itadori. Oh, here's a TS version of Gojo. Gojo Satoru TS Nachi personality excretion. Let's see. Female big titty version of Gojo pooping out her personality. I'll jack off to this later. We have a lot of TS related shit, actually, in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like 80% gay yaoi content, and then like 20% big titty girls, except like 10% of that 20% is TS, Gojo turned into a big titty girl type stuff. Yeah, but it's mostly Itadori Yuji. Uh, yeah, here's a Itadori Yuji uh, male milking dojin where Yuji is being tied up like a cow and they're milking his male tits. Women don't understand this, but if you become gay enough, your male pecs start to get round and they can be milked. This is just a well-known fact of human biology. All right, back to drawing. That's a real condition. I don't know. I mean, I think you have to do a lot more than just suck enough dick for it to happen, but sure. Male milking, okay, yes. As usual, flat-chested women who are not lowlies are the most oppressed members of society, only rivaled by short men. I have yet to find a flat-chested adult woman dojin in many, many years now. It's sad, really. How will us flat-chest chads enjoy the experience of trying to push our face into the bosom of a woman we love and then only feeling the hard, cold sensation of her rib cage because she has no boobs? The sexiest feeling of all. I think with enough stimulation and hormonal imbalances, a man can be milked. Now this will be the perfect thing to ask Grok. Can men produce breast milk? Yes, men can produce breast milk, though it's rare and typically requires specific conditions. The male body has the same basic anatomical structures as the female body, including mammary glands, but these are usually underdeveloped and non-functional due to hormonal differences. Lactation in men can occur under certain circumstances. Hormonal changes, elevated levels of prolactin, stimulate lactation. This might happen due to medical conditions like pituitary tumors, not very sexy tumors, certain medications, antipsychotics that increase prolactin, or hormonal treatments. Number 2, stimulation, guys. Regular nipple stimulation can mimic the sucking reflex, potentially triggering prolactin release and milk production, though this is less common without hormonal support. There you go, yaoi girls. All you need to do is have Gojo be constantly rubbing Itadori Yuji's nipples so that he can start squirting male milk. Medical or induced cases. In rare cases, men undergoing hormone therapy or those with specific medical conditions may produce milk. Historical anecdotes also exist of men lactating in extreme circumstances like starvation where hormonal imbalances can occur. However, the amount of milk produced by men is typically minimal compared to women, and it's not usually sufficient for breastfeeding. No! How can this be? How can I raise my mpreg son? Small tits are cute though. I don't want small tits, I want completely flat. I've come to the conclusion after looking at 10 million images of hentai porn is that, let's illustrate it. This is BB's porn acceptability boobs. Let's just you know, put this standard. This is what the point I've reached. It's just like the shape of the relatively small boobs where it's just kind of there, but it's not like enough to, you know, be voluminous and aggressive, which I just find unappealing. Whereas the flat, it's about like the curvature, right? The flat is okay because it can go like straight and like this. Like there's a gesture to the complete flatness. But this level of boob, especially it's like this, I don't like it. I also don't like it how it can often become like triangular if you're going to be realistic. I have a plastic surgeon in the family. It's usually because people try to go too big. The best boob job is just an enhancement by a size or two. Yeah. But people who are going to get a breast enhancement in the first place probably have some serious body issues. So I'm sure the doctor is like, maybe you shouldn't go that big, but then they can't be convinced otherwise, I bet. That's probably what usually happens. I'm personally put off by all fake boobs. I think the better boob jobs nowadays are very hard to be noticeable. There's a lot of JAV actresses that have had boob jobs, and I can't even notice based on the shape of looking at their boobs, but instead I notice because if you look underneath their arm, like this, there's like right here, there's a very super thin scar, just like here. And you can only see it if you're watching the high definition version, which shows that the Japanese boob surgeons know how to do boob jobs better than American ones. You hate Raita torpedo tits then? My problem with Raita isn't the torpedo tits, but like the rest of the body structure, like the skeleton body, is what I don't like. Also, I don't like his character types. I will jack off to Mommy Raiko, though. I will masturbate to doujin images of Mommy Raiko being defeated by goblins. I'm okay with that. New implants are interesting, cool to check out, but I get not liking them. They're unnecessary and kind of impediment. My general opinion is you shouldn't be fiddling with your body. I kind of feel that way about everything, including stuff like routine dental work, but everybody tells me, including the, you know, the dentist, that I have to get my fucking root canal, so... I always wonder if the dentist is just tricking me and my, I don't have any, you know, cavities at all. And I'm just being tricked. But there's no way for me to know. They're always like, yeah, if you look at this x-ray, you can see the shadow there, right? There's a cavity. I'm like, are you sure? Are you just fucking with me? Because there's literally no way for me to tell, right? They could just be giving me shit and I wouldn't fucking know. People are free to do what they want. I just wish that women wouldn't do a thing that men want it. 90% of what women want to do in terms of like fashion or personal appearance, they're all like, oh, the patriarchy is making me do it. And men keep on being like, no, please don't do that. Please don't wear that. We don't like it. And women are like, no, no, no. I definitely look better in this. And then if you're like, no, you look like shit, they're like, how could you say that? You're such a fucking pig. Women want to do... they just want to do what they want based on their own fashion preferences, and then they want you to be supportive of it. Men have the same aspects, but they don't do it for like fashion. They do it for like getting super jacked. No matter how many times women tell a guy that, like, no, they don't need the man to, you know, have massive fucking biceps, men will be like, that's not true. I have to be, you know, a Giga Chad, or else you're gonna leave me for the next guy with a thundercock. Reductions are so important. I knew friends who had them signed off by insurance because they legit caused nerve damage. What kind of a... If God really exists, he wouldn't create a world in which women have to have breast reductions. Yes, I really did make that connection between a world in which boobs can be too big and cause health problems for women, and a world in which there is no God. That being said, there's plenty of situations in which I'm looking up porn and it's like, no, boobs are too big, not gonna save this one. I have pretty strict aesthetic limits on boobs being too big myself, so it's understandable. Unfortunately, the size for boobs being too big in real life is much, much smaller than the size of boobs being too big in hentai, so... Except people who get surgeries like these almost always do it for the opposite sex, even if they often say otherwise, just my experience. Well, there's a very large group of men who like this kind of like weird-ass, cheap boob job boobs. I assume they mostly live in LA and Miami, and they're probably not great human beings in aspects other than their taste in fake boobs as well. Okay, here we go, right here. I've never met a guy who likes fake tits. I'm sure they exist, but it has to be an extremely tiny minority. They definitely exist, and they're like in weird places like Los Angeles, where there's a lot of superficial beauty concepts. That's my theory. Dudes with bimbofication fetishes or dudes who want to show off wealth. Yeah, that's right. Even if you're on e-hentai, there's all those weird like bimbofication Western artists, which is definitely a Western porn only thing. It's definitely something you don't see in any Japanese hentai artist. But it's some weird, like it's a weird fetish centered around the fakeness of the body, right? Like they want to see the woman become this like weird monstrosity of fake tits and, you know, fake lips and shit like that. That's a weird ass fetish. These people who are drawing images of people so they could have any level of beauty, but instead of trying to pursue truth and beauty like in realistic beauty, they prefer the fake thing. Why can't Western porn fetishists jack off to normal stuff like Gojo Satoru, gender change, personality, poop excretion porn like I do? You know, normal content. Why don't they just get off to normal shit like Tentacles and NTR? Tentacles and NTR actually is normal shit at this point. It's long, protected, beloved Japanese traditions. A lot of nouveau, rich, wealthy men try to pressure their girlfriends and wives to get as much surgery as possible. The more evident, the better it shows they have money. Bezos' wife is a good example. That's a good point. She's definitely gotten more plastic in the last, 5 years and stuff. Bezos' wife. Lauren Sanchez Bezos. Before and now is actually at the top of the Google image search. Holy shit. Yeah, I knew that she was getting uglier. Here we have relatively attractive woman. Mr. Bezos, are you sure this is what you want your wife to look like? Are you sure that getting divorced for billions and billions of dollars for your previous wife so you could get married to a new woman that is now a horror of various, silicone injections? Is this how you want to Yeah. Shit is fucked up, man. She used to be pretty? Yes. A guy friend of mine told me a lot of dudes will not date girls who don't impress their friends, and that really stuck with me. Their girlfriends are a status, not a partner. I mean, it's good if you can get just trophy wife or trophy girlfriend. That means you have the option to choose. I feel like that's more of a thing among women than men. But maybe if you're at Jeff Bezos' level, you can actually, you know, pick and choose what kind of women you're gonna, you know, display as your status symbols. So it's a slightly different situation, I guess. I keep on forgetting that Death Striker has said she works in California and like video game related stuff, so I think she's more closer to that, like the weird ass parts of society than most of the other people in this stream, now that I think about it. I think that might just be a Californian thing. My father's from California. I don't go to California very often, but I won't forget the time in which I was having like dinner at a restaurant with his friends. And one of like his Californian friends started talking about the memory of water and how water, like, it keeps a memory of where it was flowing and shit like that. And he went on for like 20 minutes and I was just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Holy shit, I'm so glad I don't live in this fucking cursed state. What the fuck? This was Northern California, so like San Francisco or whatever. I'm usually pretty anti-Republican, anti-GOP, anti-whatever right-wing part of this country, but I also see why they fucking constantly hate on and make fun of California and some of these more liberal places like Portland and stuff as well. There are some weird-ass motherfuckers in these locations. Femboys will soon be the standard. God damn, I just don't like this line. What am I trying to accomplish here? I think I need to make the hips wider, and then we can do something else with other stuff. This bee needs to have maximum level childbearing hips. Her legs are that long? Her legs are literally that long. I'm doing some stylization, but if you actually look at the sprites... Here's a good one. See, if you measure the distance between the top of her head to her waist, it's like one measurement here. That's the same length as the distance between her waist to her knee, and then her knee to her foot. So her legs are like 66% of her body length, maybe even longer, considering that she's bending her knees right now. This makes sense when there's what is it, like hornet with long legs. She's clearly based on these types right here with these super long legs. You know, sexo insects. Look at this fucking slut wasp. Just asking for the big human cock. Is she a regular bee or a bumblebee? She is not a cute bee. She is a devour you and put insects in you kind of bee. So she's basically a wasp. Some kind of wasp. The types of wasp that, you know, put eggs in our flesh. Wasp really do be Satan's minions. Like, even people who are like, no, don't kill those insects. We need to be kind to all creatures. Literally nobody says that shit about wasps. If you murder a wasp around you, everyone will be just like, good job. I assume that they do some sort of cross-pollination just like bees, but I have never heard anyone be like, no, guys, we need to be nice to the wasps. Everyone is literally just like, fuck those things. Also, wasps kill bees, which are our buddies, so... if we want to protect the bees, we need to murder the wasps as well. Alright, that looks good enough. That looks good enough. I don't get the fear people have for roaches. Roaches, just mean that the area you're living in is unsanitary. That's all it means. Also, they're super fast. The other day, I was in the basement, and our basement has a lot of those, like, house centipede things that it looks like they're just, like, giant, like... I don't know if you guys have these in Europe. What's their official name? They're creepy-ass motherfuckers. These boys. We got a bunch of these boys in our house. But, there was like a giant plastic tub. Like a Tupperware container that was empty for like clothing and stuff. And it's like a foot deep. And I was looking at it. And they were just like... at the bottom, there was just like one of those boys, and it was all like completely curled up and dead and gone. And I was just thinking, that guy probably went into this thing, and it was trapped inside this fucking gigantic plastic container and couldn't climb the walls because they were too smooth or something, and it just fucking expired in there. And I was just thinking, what a fucking torturous way to die. You are trapped in some sort of outer god's unknowing, unfeeling, completely empty, inescapable prison, and you just like expire and die like that. mercilessly forgotten in the cold of the universe. The whole Cthulhu mythos and stuff makes sense if you consider yourself to be a bug and like the outer gods to be like humans, right? Like you're just living your life and there's all this like this entire greater world that you can't perceive, and like one day you might just get stepped on and the person who steps on you doesn't even know they stepped on you. It would have been incredibly based if the movie had actually bankrupted Madhouse. I enjoyed Red Line for the first like 40 minutes and stuff, but I don't feel like it was able to keep the momentum it had. It kind of lost steam even as it was supposed to become more and more climactic, I feel. Once you're in Japan, you should wear a leather jacket and grow out your hair into a massive pompadour. No, I will not be doing that. Wearing a leather jacket in Japan is probably incredibly uncomfortable for like 80% of the year. You don't understand how fucking incredibly hot and humid Japan is, like, even in the winter. Like, let's look at Tokyo weather. Bro, tomorrow, Tokyo has a high of fucking 79. With like 75% humidity. And it's goddamn middle of October. Fuck this shit. Spiders are a sign that your room is healthy. Some acquaintances never had spiders. Turns out their wall paint was somewhat toxic. It means your room is healthy and there's small insects that the spiders can eat. And the small insects are probably eating your ass sweat and feasting on your shit. Should have moved to Russia then, or go to Hokkaido. So I was actually looking at the various places. There was a Japanese website on places to recommend that they recommend to go to if you don't want to deal with Japanese weather bullshit. And it's actually not Hokkaido. There's like, because Japan has mountains, so you just need to go to altitude for one thing. So that's like places like Nagano Prefecture and stuff for one. And then there's just like these weird locations in Chiba, which is just like pretty near Tokyo, that apparently just don't get hot days, and it's not really clear why. I guess it's because of like some of the ocean currents or something, but they just don't get like summers that go over like 85 degrees or something. So I was like, okay, that sounds good enough. That sounds good. I can do that. Thank you. I will do my best. Become a hermit? By hermit, do you mean stay inside my air-conditioned room and not leave that area? Yes, that is what I will be doing. Thank you very much. I will, in fact, not be leaving air-conditioned room. At least, Japan understands that it's too fucking hot, which is why they have air conditioning everywhere. Even if you're about to die from heat stroke, you just need to step into the convenience store and it'll be like negative 5,000 degrees. And your body will immediately start to go into hypothermic shock in the temperature difference. And you just need to stand in the convenience store for long enough and now you're good to go again. You can look at the hentai magazines sitting around. Places near the ocean tend to get more wild weather in both winter and summer because it acts as a giant heater cooler. The other option is to go to like mountainous regions, which is usually what, like Japan has a huge track and like long distance running scene. But of course, like it's fucking impossible to do marathon practice running in Japan if, you know, the average temperature is going to be like 95 during the summer. So what they do is all the teams, they go to like these mountainous areas like Nagano Prefecture and shit like that. So that's also an option. When I told my mother I wanted to live in Nagano, part of Japan, she'd be like, why do you want to go to Nagano? That's like conservative part of Japan. And I'm like, unlike you, Mom, who escaped Japan because you got tired of conservative old men telling you what you can or can't do as a woman. I am a man, so I don't have to worry about old ass people being like, you need to have children. Why are you single, woman? You must have babies now. They're not gonna ask that from me, so. Why aren't you impregnated? No sexy men to give me my male preg experience. The They'll just ask you to leave for being hafu, in which case you growl at them assertively and they leave. Yes. What's important to remember is Japan is a country based on being polite and just sort of hinting at what they want you to do. So if you're just oblivious to the cultural hints that they're giving you or just ignore them, they can't do anything. This is why Japan is being invaded by foreigners who don't give a fuck about Japanese conventional politeness. Japan is like currently full of well, I forgot the Kurds. There's huge Kurdish problem. There's a bunch of Kurds that have populated various prefectures, and the kind of shit that people are complaining about is like, they're being too loud. We can't stop them. They're being too loud. There's nothing we can do. Please, police officers, stop them from being loud. And it's like, LMAO. Our superpower of glaring at these foreigners and being upset isn't working. Japan isn't like America, in which, you know, we have a long historical tradition of, if we don't like some sort of racial group, we literally murder them. We put on our white mask and hood and then string them up from a tree. Japan hasn't really had to do that for a while, so they don't really understand how these things work. They're just like, we're telling them indirectly that we are upset with their behavior and they have to change. Why are they not responding? It doesn't make sense. It's pretty funny. Of course, being too loud is the biggest complaint. I mean, everybody's living within like 10 feet of each other, so it probably is a pretty big problem if you're in like an apartment complex. Apparently with the Vietnamese immigrants were like butchering pigs in the backyard of the apartment or some shit like that. I've heard complaints like that. There's nothing you can do to the Kurds to hurt their feelings at this point. I mean, the only way to get the Kurds out of Japan is to literally just like forcefully ship them out, because they don't actually have refugee status. They've been staying in Japan, applying for refugee status, and then they don't get it and they just don't leave. When I saw a photo of a Kurd who had crashed his truck, and like the Japanese right-wing internet was complaining about that, like, look, they can't even drive, blah blah blah. But I saw on the truck, and the guy had a fucking English sign that said Kurdistan on his fucking truck, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, these guys are, this actually is an invasion of Japan. They're trying to establish fucking statehood inside Japan. You guys need to kick these people out, like, right now. If you're driving around with Kurdistan on your truck, I think it's time for you to leave. No wonder you're getting bullied in Turkey. You can just not leave? The police are that powerless? I don't know. It's not clear. Japanese police are extremely ineffective when they actually have real problems. They follow a lot of weird, outdated rules, so the government has to just basically give them the okay to just kick people out. There's a big Turkish community in Japan. The Kurds will never find peace. Japan generally doesn't complain about the Turks. If you're walking around like Ueda or places of Tokyo, you'll find all these like kebab stands and stuff. I haven't seen anybody complain about the Turks yet. It's only when they started getting a large Kurdish population in which the internet started complaining about that shit. I assume that was like different waves of immigration. So previously you were getting the Turkish immigrants that were coming to Japan were the type of Muslims that were like, it's okay, Allah isn't watching. I can definitely eat tonkatsu. And you're like, bro, are you sure you can eat tonkatsu? He's like, yeah, no, it's good, it's fine. It was those kinds of Muslims. But now we're past that layer of immigration, and corporations are trying to get, like, you know, more serious people into the country, and those people are like the type of people who want to establish a Kurdistan in Japan, not the ones who are like, LMAO, I can eat tonkatsu, it's fine. Has the Russian mob replaced the Yakuza yet? The Yakuza are just kind of like vaguely dying out. Instead of the Yakuza, we just have, I don't know, like general delinquents that might or might not be. I think what they have the most in terms of like criminal organizations in Japan right now are Japanese who have escaped Japan, and then they like team up with like Filipino criminal organizations to do like scamming inside Japan, is I think what is most common. And then like the Japanese and like Filipino police need to cooperate to catch these guys, is what I usually hear. I'm sorry, this is insanely funny that one of the most marginalized racial minorities is just so despised in Japan. I cannot believe they have this much beef with the Kurds. Well, Japan hasn't really been getting much foreigners until recently, so... Also, Japan has huge issue with Muslim populations wanting to have burials in which you have to bury the body, because Japan is so hot and humid. They basically have to cremate everything, but if you're Muslim, you have to get like the bury the body burial for like when you get what is it, resurrected at the end of time or whatever, some shit like that. So there have been problems with like Pakistanis and Kurds and stuff like that, just like driving a bunch of their own corpses into various Japanese cemeteries and just like burying them with a backhoe. So the corpses are just there. So I don't know what happens to these corpses that are just being dumped in Japanese cemeteries. But I generally think that it's good that the Japanese right wing is getting pissed off of this at the current stage instead of at a later stage, because I feel like this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment is often used to legitimize other dumb shit like, you know, Trump, authoritarian regimes and stuff. So I think it's good to have like a right-wing anti-immigration surge at an earlier stage so it can be dealt with in a more moderate fashion. So if I live in Japan and I actually like bother to vote, I might vote for like far-right parties or some shit, just to shake some shit up. My mother legitimately votes for the communists when she's in Japan, which is just as much as throwing away a vote as you can. It's like voting for the Green Party in America, except worse. There's like 3 seats for the Communist Party in Japan, so she's definitely throwing away her vote. They do ground burials, but they generally try to bury in family plots. It turns out that religion based around extremely large, arid land that's extremely dry doesn't mesh well with small island country that's super humid and there's like very small amounts of land in which you can bury anything. Wow, I took forever to draw these legs. Definitely taking my time on this one. Damn migrants stealing our healthcare, K-Kona. Good thing the GOP is fixing that K-Kona clap. That's right. The migrants won't come to this country for free healthcare if nobody gets healthcare. This will definitely solve our problem. Just make sure none of us get any healthcare at all. Who was that one-man party guy in Japan again, and what was his deal? See, that doesn't actually narrow it down that much because there's been multiple like weird one-man parties. Japan always has like these weird one-man parties that like make no fucking sense. It's more common than you think. They have like weird-ass names too, like let's all drink vinegar or some shit like that. Like there's like literal Japanese political parties that are centered around like the benefits of drinking vinegar. The most recent low population party that actually had like a clearly defined directive was like the anti-NHK party. NHK being Japan's government sponsored somewhat TV station, except the NHK kind of behaves like Yakuza, and they find where you live and then they show up and demand you to give them money. And nobody wants to fucking give them money. Me included, of course. So some people are really fucking fed up with this TV station and they want it to be gone. I would literally vote for that party if I was in Japan. I sure as fuck don't want to be forced to pay for something I'm not gonna watch. What else are you supposed to do when you effectively have a one-party system? It's not actually a one-party system because there's various different factions inside the LDP in Japan. The LDP is just really good at having like a general a feeling on what is the general consensus in Japanese society and never going too far from it and not making the country so bad that people will like vote for a different party. In like what, 2005 or something? I can't remember what year it was, but they actually lost power for like the first time in forever, and the party that got the majority didn't know what the fuck to do and absolutely shat their pants now that they had political power. And then it went back to being LDP again. Actually, it's been pretty funny watching my mother seethe because the LDP just elected their new leader, which is the first female prime minister. And of course, she's like ultra conservative, like Margaret Thatcher type. So this is having all the feminists absolutely seething because for the millionth time it has proven that there's no kind of like real unified front among women. And there's lots of conservative women. And my mother, being an outdated feminist herself, is just absolutely seething in rage. It's pretty funny. A face when you have a functioning democracy, but your society is so conformist that you still only have one party, basically. Everybody has a general, like, idea of what they agree on. Woman never has been. Women voted against women's suffrage back in the day. I mean, it's not like we have, like, some sort of unified party of men, right? This shit is stupid. There's no way that something like 50% of the... It's more like 55 or 60% of the global population is going to agree on, like, a general set of, like, political concepts, right? That's fucking impossible. So this whole idea of that feminists have that they can have, like, some sort of unified front of female rights is just bullshit. But for some reason they haven't figured that out, despite being alive in the world for the last 60 years. I don't understand why they can never figure that shit out, but they can't. In fairness, Margaret Thatcher fucking sucked. No! You can't insult my hero, Margaret Thatcher. She has a giga forehead. I forgot how much of a forehead she has. Look at this. Forehead 1. Forehead 2. Who wore it better, guys? Who has the more fuckable forehead? Oh, we should also go... I forgot what her name was. Raya Osena? Was that her name? Yeah. She has one of the most impressive foreheads in all of video gaming. Look at that fucking forehead. It's like massive. I think I've drawn porn of somebody like coming on her forehead in the past. I just can't forget how massive her forehead is. Except even that doesn't compare to how large the Margaret Thatcher forehead is. It looks like fucking Megamind. Like you don't know where her skull actually stops here. It might be going all the way up to the top. She might actually be like have some sort of Megamind, like insane brain going on here. Feminism has become centered around wealth and income and not women's quality of life. Japan constantly ranks at like some of the lowest in terms of these various like global feminist, I don't know, measuring metrics and stuff. But in terms of like Japanese female happiness, it also ranks in like the highest in the world. So something isn't aligning there. Maybe it turns out that being part of this horrible slave workforce, being a cog in the capitalist machine isn't actually something that's good and it fucking sucks. I don't know. I might be overthinking this, but it's almost like working in a fucking shitty-ass desk job so you can make corporate profits isn't as enjoyable as it was set up to be. Maybe people don't actually want to do that. Second wave feminism is a fucking curse. The newest generation has been trying to undo so much damage. The newer generation seems even worse, but I guess it varies from place to place. It's not clear which is like second wave and which is third wave and which is fourth wave and stuff like that. I feel like fourth wave feminism is like people on TikTok being like, I made this object, it's pink. You should buy this pink object because I'm a woman. First wave feminism is like, we would like some political representation and also the right not to be beaten to death by our drunken husband. And everything after first wave feminism was kind of going downhill. Also, there hasn't really been a clear goal to feminism after the whole voting rights thing. First wave feminists at least knew what they wanted. They were fucking jumping in front of streetcars and stuff like that. Imagine convincing a current generation feminist that they should die for their cause by like literally jumping in front of a streetcar to inconvenience people trying to get to work. It's like, yeah, another feminist literally murdered herself. That's why I was late to work, I'm sorry. Second wave was about equal pay at jobs. Well, that still apparently hasn't been achieved. On the other hand, there are legitimate complaints that if you're giving women child support leave, that means they're not as worth money to a corporation as a man, so it's actually not that weird that they would be paid less. And also now we have jobs in which women get paid more than men, thanks to DEI, when they probably shouldn't, although those are probably pretty rare. I hate the term girl boss. I don't know, a lot of feminism is just performative nowadays, i.e. girl boss bullshit. Pink sauce fans seething. Pink sauce is fine, guys, it's just rotten something. Surely it won't cause any kind of permanent health damage. A lot of conversation in America is how men are pressured by society to express emotions and conform, so that's way different. I don't know. I feel like American society doesn't know what they want from both men and women at this point. Which is why you have people like Trump being like, no, it's okay. We should all be trad wives and giga chad white supremacist men now. We're all gonna go back to 1950. Just complete cosplaying. Can you tell me what a performative man is? All you need to do is watch like one of these far-right podcasters. They're doing lots of performative man stuff. Here's a performative man. We did it, guys. Did you hear that Jordan Peterson's brain has literally been rotted by the mold that has been in his apartment for decades? I mean, I think we're seeing a pattern here with the RFK Jr. worm and then the Jordan Peterson mold. I'm seeing some kind of consistency. There was an interesting study on that in the Nordics, where despite having free education and strong social safety nets, women actually chose more feminine professions over time. Meanwhile, the opposite is seen in highly competitive countries like India. That's because the women working in India are literally working to survive, and they're just trying to make more money. A lot of the females in India are still, they're still doing like brutal physical labor. There's like a New York Times study of the beverage companies that were forcing women to, well, not forcing, but they were employing women to work in their like sugarcane fields. Like it was like PepsiCo India, and they were like forcing the women to have ovary extraction surgeries for the sole purpose that so they wouldn't have to like miss work days, so that they could like do more hard labor. They were just like being like, yeah. Oh, they were also making the woman charge for the surgeries out of their own pocket. They were like, yeah, we want you to extract your fucking ovaries so you can, you know, work more. I was just like, holy shit. India's literally still living in like 1750. This is insane. I had that in uni, straight up evil. Delicious, but think about all the delicious Coca-Cola they're gonna make with that delicious sugar. How can it be evil when it's so refreshing? I see men with Labubus and Hello Kitty hanging on their bags. I think those guys are just consumers. They can't help themselves. They see overpriced pink objects and they buy it. God damn, it's hard connecting lines. Okay, that looks about right. I would like to be a typist in the 60s, smoking 3 packs a day and slapping my boss's hand off my perky butt. You say that, but you don't actually want to do that because fucking typing on a typewriter, unlike modern day computer keyboards, was insanely hard labor. Have you guys actually typed on a fucking typewriter? Like, my god, you have to apply like 10 pounds of pressure just to push down like a single fucking key. That shit is insane. It was like ching 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 ka-ching ching 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 ching. And then if you fuck up, you actually fuck up, right? That shit is insane. Pre-digital technology fucking sucked. Only the most hipster of people are like, we need to go back to typewriters. Nobody actually wants to do that. It's like one of those horrible in-between technologies that's neither like handwritten personal cursive writing, but it's not like computer type either. Just get some strength shaking my head. I think I have too much strength, honestly, because I keep on breaking objects. I broke my PlayStation 5 controller. I don't think that's the problem with my poor typing speed. By the time we get computers, I will have lung cancer and a strained relationship with my asshole adult children. Yes, but it all works out because if you smoke enough cigarettes, you won't have to be around your asshole children for that long. You just die from lung cancer at, 58 or whatever. The problem kind of solves itself. You broke it by pressing buttons. You sure that was the reason? No, it was getting stick drift. So I was like, okay, the stick drift is getting too bad that I can't use it anymore. I have to try and fix it myself. So I took it apart and tried to replace and clean, what do you call them? The something meters. And in the process of putting it back together, I fucked up and I failed. I documented all of this on Discord and everyone was like, you fucking suck, you're a retard. And I was like, no, I can never be a YouTuber. There's all these YouTubers who are like, don't worry, it's easy. You can definitely build your own PC. You can definitely fix your own PlayStation controller. And that was not the case. I failed. I'm sorry, guys. I'm drawing a one-shot, but it's dragging on. How do you avoid getting fed up with one self-inflicted projects? I started watching a lot of YouTube channels by professional Japanese mangaka giving advice. And there was one professional Japanese mangaka who had a video being like, how long should your one-shot be? And his answer was, your one-shot should be however long it takes for you to finish something in 3 months. And I was like, why 3 months? And he was like, let me explain. Because after 3 months, people get fucking sick of whatever they're drawing and working on. And they want to quit. And I was like, oh, yeah, he gets it. This guy understands. So, you have to figure out how many pages you can draw in a day. And if it's like a number of pages that is like more than like 40 or whatever, and you can't, you know, finish a page per day, it's probably going to take you more than 3 months, and you're going to get fucking sick of it, and you shouldn't start that project. You need to cut the number of pages. It's that fucking simple. Labubu's blew up because one member of Blackpink carried it around and her simps lost their shit. Damn K-pop girls. Sexy Korean women need dick correction. Console sells mogged. Now I have one of the more expensive PlayStation 5 controllers, and of course it also started to suffer from stick drift, so I bought one of their replacement sticks, and it's just made so you can just snap it in and out, and that solved my problem. So I ended up buying a very expensive Sony controller, but at least the stick drift issue has been solved, even though it cost me a lot of money. I just like playing with controller. Every once in a while I'll play a game with mouse and keyboard, and it never really feels comfy. I grew up with console. I will always be a console Chad. It was actually the one Thai member, Lisa, LOL. Black, pink, Lisa. The vibes I'm getting from her is she looks like the kind of girl when you ask her to stop sucking your penis and you're like, please, I've had enough now, but she keeps on sucking. Also, she's wearing a Harley Davidson t-shirt. It's like, please, no, no more. She kind of looks just like a doll in this image. Actually too thin. I don't know, I didn't think I'd say that because I'm in America and I'm starved for any kind of thin females, but when I see like the K-pop stars and I know that like they're being bullied by their manager to get underneath like 40 kilos or whatever, some ridiculously low number, I'm actually like, yeah, you're actually too thin. Female body standards should be set based on my personal preferences in women. Genuine question, does it hurt if someone's carried on sucking after someone's done? Too much penis stimulation is not fun as someone who has masturbated too much in one sitting multiple times. Your dick starts to get raw and uncomfortable, so you don't want that. K-pop stars are remarkably thin, like 80 to 90 pounds and 165 centimeters is nuts. I believe there was like just a straight up YouTube video on the internet where like there's footage of the manager or whatever, the dance coach bullying the shit out of one of the girls because she wasn't making weight and stuff. And I was just like, damn, she's already insanely thin. And everyone was like, damn, she's already insanely thin. I think that's the general consensus. Of course, on the flip side, we have all these American women who are like, I'm just naturally curvy. I'm big and beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be like, no, you're not naturally curvy. No, you're not big and beautiful. You're morbidly obese. Stop telling these people that they're just have natural female bodies and shit like that. That's not natural. They're fat because they're eating American food and eating like 5,000 calories more than they actually need per week. And they're not healthy. They're actually extremely unhealthy. Stop pretending like they're fine. The Street Fighter 6 Fighter Pass is €30, but it has Viper. What am I gonna do? Well, it's important to remember that you have to masturbate before you buy any Street Fighter DLC, or else you'll think with your penis instead of whether you actually want to play the character or not. Don't you have access to the DLC characters in training mode? Or am I thinking of a different game? I.e., you can just still jack off to them in training mode or something? No? Isn't Viper like super easy to play in like Strong though? At least based on her previous iteration. No? Just go to like the PC pirated mod and masturbate to that one. It's not the food itself, it's the portions. I don't know, there's all these studies that are showing that it might be the food itself, as in eating like pre-prepared packaged food and stuff is contributing a shit ton to the American obesity issues. As someone who stopped eating packaged food recently, like I used to eat a shit ton of both Oreos and potato chips. I was just like, yeah, it's just calories, right? Calories are the same, right? I have noticed that it does affect like my gut biome and my sensation of being full and whether I feel like I need to eat and stuff. Like when I stop eating packaged food altogether, like I just don't get that feeling that like, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat anymore. Like it's just way weaker. Like I won't eat anything for quite a while and I'll be like, oh, I guess I should eat something now. So I do think it fucks with your gut biome in a weird way. What will you eat in Japan? Cooking a lot yourself? I think I'm gonna eat primarily tofu and stuff. Because you don't need to cook tofu and it's cheap as fuck. So it's like probably the best way of consuming protein in Japan. There's these nice like tofu stores. I don't know if there will be one around the apartment I live, but you know, you've all seen Initial D. You know how the tofu gets delivered, so go to the tofu store to get your high-speed tofu and eat that. Japanese supermarkets generally are well set up, way better set up than American supermarkets. Like they'll have pre-seasoned fish that you just throw on the pan and stuff. My mother generally feeds me healthy food right now, so if I want to maintain my health, I kind of have to like make sure that I'm eating similar stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of tofu, natto, and fish, and then like chicken breast and shit for protein. And then just eating vegetables and salads besides that. For some reason, I get the feeling you might not be a fan of BBWs. Here, let me show you some images, for example. You see this juicy, thick gotcha plap hog right here? You see that stomach? You see the amount of fat she has in her stomach? And people are like, ooh, oh, tummy. That's too fat, okay? That's too much fat. That's too squishy. I can grab her stomach fat and squeeze on it. You need to lose weight, you fucking fat electric shock gotcha booby. I will grab your fucking tummy and force you to run on a treadmill. What stomach fat? Look at it. Look how fat she is. So many people love this character. I don't like it. It's too fat. You can't see it that much in the summer version though. It's barely there. If you're a fat cosplayer, you can just cosplay as her. Yeah, no, there's quite a lot of fat here. I don't care what you guys say. She's chubby. Look, man, I grew up in like peak American obesity epidemic times, so I've been traumatized by the number of girls who are like in the morbidly obese category of weight gain, who are just like, no, I'm just a female, I have curves and shit, and I'm just like, no, you're not. Maybe if I had grown up in Japan, on the other hand, I might have become like extremely adverse to girls who are like way too fucking skinny, because when I'm walking around in Tokyo, I will see like starvation level anorexic chicks in Japan pretty frequently as well, so I just want healthy human beings. Is it asking too much to want somebody with a healthy body as my potential breeding mate? That means not being giga fat and not being giga skinny. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much. But I think that it's possible somehow. Lots of chubby girls can be cute, and they will find men easily. But those men will not be me. Also, it's often said that men just want a replacement for their mother, and they tend to like go after women that remind them of their mother. And throughout my life growing up, my mother was like weirdly muscular. She was like super toned, so I think that's rubbed off on my body standards of like how fit I want people to be. An extra 10 kilos is fine, extra 30 is not. You want a lean woman? You had a literal muscle mommy? My mother doesn't want me to talk about anything about her because she's like insanely obsessed with her privacy, but she's kind of like a psychopath in terms of like going out and doing shit, so as a result she was also like always relatively muscular, at least by Japanese woman standards. She definitely wasn't the type of woman who was like oh, I can't do that much exercise, it will make me unattractive because I'll be too muscular. She wasn't one of those, so. If you fucking hate your parents, what then? I fucking hated my parents as well, but then I became 40 years old and it doesn't really matter as much when you're old. It's interesting how that shit kind of like, it kind of dies off after a while as you get older. I think it's just my testosterone going down, so I'm no longer like easily angered. Your dad seemed pretty chill. There was someone in the previous stream who was like, your mother seems kind of like an asshole, but I'm pretty sure if you guys actually had to interact with my mother and me, I think more people would be on my mother's side than me. I think everyone would be like, wow, this streamer is a fucking, you know, insufferable asshole. His mother is way cooler. That's the general reaction that most people have about my mother, unfortunately. I think she's significantly more popular than me. Your mom sounds social and lovely, LMAO. See? You guys haven't even heard her and you're already taking her side. I can already feel it. Anyway, she's in Japan now, so there's nothing she can do about me ruining her reputation. BaalBuddy's mom has got it going on. If you look at her in her photos from like the 60s, she would probably be considered to be a relatively attractive woman, I would say. Just as someone whose job is to think about what makes females attractive. I think most of us watch you precisely because you're a kind of an asshole. I'm an asshole, but I always say what's true and on my mind. I speak truth to power. Also, I hate people. That's what makes me an asshole. How old is your mom, if you don't mind me asking? She's like in her 70s, late 70s, because she was like an actual boomer, and I'm 40, so... A literal boomer, not like a fake boomer. You are a genuine asshole, which is much more sympathetic than a kiss ass. My mother was an actual boomer, and she had me when she was around 40, so... I just turned 39 pretty recently, so... I have one more year until the big 40. I've noticed that video games aren't as much fun now that I'm about to turn 40. I didn't think that would happen, but when I'm playing video games now, I'm like, oh, I think I should be practicing drawing. I think there's a Jordan Peterson quote that was like, men shouldn't be deriving pleasure from video games. They need to find larger dragons to slay instead of like the fake dragons that you get by defeating challenges in video games. And now that I'm approaching 40, I kind of agree with him. Of course, if I didn't have drawing, I don't think I would do anything about that stuff, but now that I'm like rapidly improving at my art, I feel like I really need to like focus on that shit. I cannot play games as long as I used to. I find myself reading more, which is fucking nerdy. You can combine your two hobbies by playing visual novels instead. You can read Umineko or some shit like that. I will never play any Umineko games, but yeah. I love Disco Elysium so much. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not playing any visual novels. Ain't gonna happen, boys. I play video games to watch zombies' heads explode, not so I can read text. The only text I want to read is my Nukige Edoge visual novel being like, oh no, I'm ovulating today. That stuff. Visual novels aren't video games. Yes, they are. I feel like you have to have a certain amount of choices that you can make in your visual novel for it to count as a video game. If you can only, like, make 5 choices throughout the entire game, that's not enough. I don't know what the exact cutoff point is for gameplay, but yeah, it has to be higher than like 3 or 4 choices throughout the game. That's insane arbitrary. Okay, what about a video game in which you're holding a controller and you press start to begin the game, and then the game just requires you to go forward and walk through a hallway for the entire video game, i.e., thanks Sony. But like, you'd call that a fucking movie, right? What makes a video game is that there are literally points at the video game in which you can make choices that will affect what is going on screen. And I'm not talking about just pressing a button to make the text appear in visual novels. There has to be some amount of choices that you can make. If it's like an actual video game, like Grand Theft Auto, it's like, you know, running around. You can choose like 10 different directions to run in the most basic level, right? But in a visual novel, besides pressing confirm to get the text to move forward, how often can you actually make something happen? If it's only like 4 or 5 times throughout like a 60-hour playthrough, then that's essentially just a choose your own adventure book. It's not a video game. It has to be slightly more than that. Interactivity is a requirement, yes. At what point is it not enough interactivity? I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't call the Nukige that I play, like the Taiwanese video games, Taiwanese visual novels, to be a video game, even though I can make like 4 or 5 choices throughout the entirety of a playthrough. I wouldn't call that a video game. It's just a picture book. Arguing semantics is a waste of time. Are you saying that video games aren't art? That was always the dumbest discussion people were having after the whole Roger Ebert. I'm a famous movie critic, and I think video games can't be art because I watched a few video playthroughs of video games instead of playing them myself. Like, who gives a fuck about Roger Ebert's opinions? Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't even care about his opinions as a movie critic. Why the fuck are anybody giving him the time of day for saying his opinions about like a medium that he's not even capable of participating in? He can't even play fucking video games. Holy shit. And he's thinks he's like qualified to decide whether they can be art or not. What truly annoys me about these whole discussions about whether something can be art or not is people don't even fucking define what art means, which in itself is like a 500-page paper. You don't think like the fine art world has been like struggling with this shit for the last, 100 years, ever since they put the fucking, urinal on a wall and called it a fountain? Like, we've already had this discussion like 10,000 times. People don't know what to do with it. It's also stupid. Roger Ebert is still alive. He ain't doing very well. I think he might be slightly dead at this point. Just a tad bit dead, methinks. Dude, Chomp was the original shit poster? Yeah, quite literally, actually. He's like, LMAO, guys, what if... Hold on, get it. What if I fucking put this fucking urinal on the fucking wall and call it a fountain, guys? Wouldn't that be so funny? LMAO. And everyone was like, holy shit, got him. Got him, bro, we did it. What about this shit? Huh? Ceci n'est une pipe. Holy shit. These fucking artists, bro. Look, I drew an object and say it's not the actual object that I drew. Oh man, I'm fucking blowing your mind. This was like the beginning of the downfall of like the art industry as a whole. And now we have got into 2025 where this shit has already been done, so people are just like taping bananas to walls. Or you have Banksy destroying his own picture by having like a shredder automatically activate and stuff. Which was, to be fair, was a pretty funny troll move. But then it's worth more now as a piece of modern art now that he's destroyed it. It's all so fucking retarded, holy shit. How much would that painting go by now? Probably like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 million dollars. Any painting that's famous enough to be featured in something like a textbook on like important shit in art history, for the first thing isn't going to go on sale. For the second, if it did go on sale, it'd be like 100 million or some shit like that. I don't know. Even the most famous stuff that goes on sale nowadays by the most famous painters aren't like the shit that's in textbooks. It's much less. It's like by the famous painters, but it's not like the work by the famous painter, you know? The surrealists were a weird bunch. Dali fantasized about fucking gender bent Hitler. He was just ahead of his time, guys. can't remember what the character's name was. What was it? Eroge Dai... Daiteikoku. Here we go. Here's your Hitler, boys. Right here. Get your fucking PVC figure of Hitler right here. I don't like lolis, but this lowly Hitler is looking pretty juicy in this one. The hair color doesn't match. What the fuck? The artist probably couldn't help themselves. This is Goebbels in the back, by the way. Goebbels being hotter than Hitler is a common problem among various Nazi female version sexers. Retia Adolf. She's doing the Elon salute. It was a different time, guys. This is, I think this was pre-Lansu? I'm not sure. I think this was Lance, but... Say whatever you want about the Nazis. They had great fashion sense. That's right. People always get angry at the Nazi memorabilia collectors, but there's definitely way more Nazi memorabilia collectors than there's like any of the other fascist regimes. Especially the SS uniforms. People really like the SS uniforms. Did Mussolini's brown shirt get to wear Armani? That's a good question, actually. They also had some kick-ass car designs. I don't think there's many Japanese Imperial Japan military costume cosplayers, now that I think about it. Like, the whole losing the war and that shit being illegal, I think also has to do with it, but it also doesn't look as cool as, you know, Nazi SS uniforms. That's definitely a huge part of that shit. How much cash you reckon you could make if you only drew Holy Trinity, 2B, Tifa, and Eve from Stellar Blade? Not that much. There's lots of people who can draw big titty girls. The way the cash is doing commissions after you get a following and then drawing whatever sick shit the person wants you to draw. I've already kind of figured out the way to make a shit ton of cash off of my online reputation, and that's holding commission auctions. And if I actually did more, I would make a very nice living, actually. but I'm not interested in, I'm more interested in improving my craft, and that involves doing stuff besides, doing commissions, but the whales have lots of money, and they can pay for commission prices. What are the things you wouldn't draw for a commission? Well, Loli is literally illegal, so we're not gonna do that. I know it's like, no, that's not true, but the Bush White House, George W. Bush White House, actually passed a bunch of like anti-indecency laws, and that includes underage shit. And I know it's never actually prosecuted, but I don't like Loli enough to, go out of my way to draw that. Loli is illegal to draw. Welcome to America, where there's lots of laws that are not enforced, but then they can enforce if they want to. It is in fact illegal. If the US government decides that the anime porn that you have on your hard drive looks like it's too young, and they can do that under any circumstance, one day they can just be like, nah, I think he has underage porn. That, gender-swapped Adolf Hitler girl doesn't look like she is safe enough. You can literally be sent to jail for that shit, although it's never really applied. It's usually used when they tack it on to the sentencing of people who have, like, actual child porn. There was, like, only one case of a guy who didn't even have, like, actual hentai. He had, like, a comic book store. I forgot which state it was. And he got royally fucked by the government, and he tried to argue that this was like Japanese manga and stuff like that. It wasn't even like porn, and he like straight up did like some kind of prison time for that shit. You have any comm info? Go to the Discord. There's like previous auctions that I held. I'm not gonna do, well, actually I will be doing a Discord auction pretty soon now that I think about it, because I'm trying to finish up the current one. But if you're not even a sub to this fucking Twitch stream, then I don't think you have the budget to participate in some of the fucking commissions. You should probably fucking forget it. I know that's, you're a potential customer, but I charge $25 an hour for my labor. That's after you get the auction slot. And you have to fight with the other whales over the auction slot. And it goes somewhere between like $500 and $1,000 for the slot, so. Actually, she's a 1,000-year-old elf and not a minor. That's what I want to say, man. This shit is so stupid. The fact that people have actually been prosecuted for that shit is insane. Never sub, never donated, ad block on, stolen laptop, neighbor's Wi-Fi, mama's house, stolen solar panels, stolen sun, solar energy stolen, water wheel, neighbor's river, stolen hydroelectric plant, charging phone with work, electricity, shower and bathroom sink, stolen food from cafeteria, stolen hamster wheel, kinetic energy, free entertainment. Yes. That's about it. I don't make much money because I don't work hard enough regarding to like maximize my fan base and charge a shit ton of money for commissions, but that's good enough for me for now. I'm trying to make a masterpiece. Of manga or something. Will the next chapter feature gacha content? No, it will not. What would give you such an idea, you sick fuck? You should be ashamed for even considering such anti-Christian ideas. $1,000 is a bit much for me. It's not even for like the actual commission is total $1,000. It's $1,000 to have the opportunity for me to draw your shit, which people are willing to pay. My fan base for the people that read my shit on Twitter, the fan base for the people who give me money on Patreon, the fan base for people who get commissions from me, and the fan base who show up in Twitch chat, they're all like completely different fan bases now that I've figured that out. There's very, very little overlap. And the commissioners do not have time to be in Twitch chat. They're busy making money so they can pay for commissions. I assume they have high-paying jobs as professional corporate lawyers or some shit. I'll pour one out for the Mexican brat bro tonight. He got like 3 or 4 commissions from me. Let's see if I can actually find this stuff. Let's see. Commissions. Now, what was his name? Why am I looking this up when I'm not going to be able to show it on stream? I haven't done as many commissions as I think I have, now that I look at it. There's only 46 items in my completed commissions folder. I've been doing commissions since like, what, 2014? Something like that. I don't know. For quite a while. I don't do many commissions. Do you really need 2 kidneys? A real fan would find a way to make it happen. Honestly, I don't see why anyone should commission artists when they could just use their high-powered PC to generate AI images of their waifu instead. I feel like AI is just as good as an actual artist drawing of your waifu, as long as you can ignore, you know, the extra digits she has on her hand. If you really love your waifu, you would love her no matter how many fingers she has and whether her spine is broken or not. That's what I think. So this frame is pretty empty right now. So I need to draw the other characters. That was always the planning, but I ended up taking up a shit ton of time drawing QB to maximize her leg, the leg Coomer potential here. What's your favorite romance trope? Childhood friend losing. Childhood friend suffering. They don't have to lose, they just have to suffer. Heartbreaking, insane amounts of childhood friend bullying, suffering. I just like women fighting with each other and then also women suffering in my rom-coms. You could say I might be a slight bit sadistic in my tastes. But I feel like there's not enough women fighting other women, shit going down scenes. Japan is too afraid of conflict. Was anyone ever romantically interested in you? That's the interesting part. I have no fucking idea. It's impossible for me to know because I have Asperger's. And that means I have no ability to understand nonverbal communication. So my childhood friend literally has to show up and be like, I love you, baka, or else I can't tell. So there might have been people romantically... Actually, that's right, I forgot. I already told this story, but when I was going to the Japanese high school, someone gave me a rose, but they didn't post their fucking name. And my mother was like, you have to find out who sent you that. They want you to find out. And I was like, why would they? If they sent it to me without their name attached, that means they just don't want me to find out. And she was like, you're being stupid again. I was like, no, you don't get it. They just want to admire me from afar. They don't actually want a relationship with me. Also, how the fuck am I supposed to find it out if they don't post their name? What, do you think I'm some kind of fucking detective? Also, there was a time when I was going in Hawaii. I was at the wedding of one of my cousins, and I was on a beach in Hawaii. And I was just chilling there, and then my mother showed up, and she was like, you do notice that that woman over there has been checking you out? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Mom? Stop being cringe. And she was like, no, she's been looking at you. She's making nonverbal communication. I'm like, ha ha ha. Don't be weird, Mom. That's not how people socialize with each other. And she's like, yes, they do. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm literally on vacation with my mother. I'm not gonna go and have like a one-night stand with random woman in bikini. And to this day, I have never had a relationship with a woman. Women, if you are not approaching me and directly being like, hello, Mr. Person with Asperger's, would you like to have a sexual relationship with me? Here is my consent form. Please sign under the dotted line. If you're not doing that, I have no fucking idea what's going on, okay? I can't take any hints. I have no idea what you're thinking. How does anyone even make these connections? It's impossible. This shit is insane. You gotta express interest? How the fuck am I supposed to do that? I don't understand. This shit is literally impossible. I've always had female friends, you know, like actual, like, friends. And I have no idea how you go from, like, that, like, perfunctory, we're acquaintances, we get along, to, like, the next romantic step and shit. So, I don't know, man. If we have any Casanovas in chat, please, notify. I remember having friends. I too had friends. I'm talking about like back in the day. I don't have any friends right now. Here's a pro tip for young people. If you don't try hard to maintain your friendships after like high school and college, you won't have any friends. After that, it becomes like actual work. Because you don't have any like organic situations in which you commune with your friends after that. So if you're like lazy about that shit, you'll fall out of communication with all the people you knew. And me being, you know, fully autistic, I of course have allowed that to happen because I don't want to communicate with anybody. That's right. I allowed it to happen on purpose. And that's okay. At your age, you could just be like, hey, I want to get married soon, want to hang out, and you'd get women, but I don't want to get married soon. I don't know if I can be around. Thanks for the sub, Luminous Connoisseur. Who else just subbed? We have a hype train going on. Did I miss another sub? Or did you literally just get a one-man hype train? I don't understand how this shit works. Guys, did I miss a sub? I don't think I did. I used to actually have, like, sub alerts. There's only one sub. They literally gave us a hype train with one sub. That shit is so stupid. Twitch is ridiculous. They're just desperate. They're desperately flailing for ways to have increase their revenue. Guys, look, it's a hype train. You have a limited amount of time to earn emotes. Hurry. More people have to sub and give more money to Mr. Bezos. He needs to pay for more plastic surgery for his wife. You say date with the intention of eventually getting married so she knows you're not going to hit it and quit it. Also, I don't talk about this much on stream, but I'm kind of fairly certain that I will not be able to ejaculate inside a woman's vagina because I've been torturing my poor penis for like my entire adult life by applying too much pressure to it. So that might be a problem if I'm like I want to get married to you and have kids. Yeah, Futon-chan ruined him. Don't do that, guys. There's literally Japanese like websites who are like, do not do this. And I checked them when I was like 30 and I was like, shit, I've been doing that for the last 20 years. This might be bad. You squeeze your dick too hard, it's actually worse than squeezing your dick. On the plus side, there is 0 chance of me coming too soon. I don't get it. Explain. So, in Japan, we've explained this before, but if you're a new member to the stream, we can do a rerun. But in Japan, because there's a lot of kids who don't get their own room, there is a common practice where the kid is laying in the futon in like a similar room as like their other siblings and shit, and they don't have time to like whip out their dick and like jack it off right. So instead, they're just lying face down on your fucking futon, and then you start like grinding your crotch naturally into your futon, and then you apply 10 gorillion pounds of pressure to your cock, and it's this stimulation that makes you come. And I had my own room, but I just started naturally doing that with my futon when I was like, 13 or 14. And apparently this is a common problem among Japanese kids, so there's websites being like, guys, you shouldn't do this. You won't be able to ejaculate normally in a vagina because the whatever pressure that is applied to your dick from a woman's vagina is going to be much, much less than your death grip hand. But even your death grip hand is much, much less than the amount of pressure you can apply by smashing your pelvis into the fucking futon. So they specifically warn against that, to do that. So I just naturally started doing that when I was like, I don't know, like a teenager, and now I'm like, I probably can't come inside a vagina right now. I'd have to do like long-term training to make sure that I can like come without that, but I've tried Ona holes and stuff and I haven't been able to come in that. What I'd have to do is I'd have to be like no fap for quite a long time. I used to do this when I was younger. I didn't even know it was masturbation. Yeah, it's like you're stimulating your penis using like your own crotch, and that's like a natural Keck W. Thanks for the tier 1 gifted sub, Luminous Connoisseur, to Machon Sauce. It's normal to hump your mattress or grind it, to be honest. Yeah. So the problem occurs is if you do it for too long and you get your penis used to that level of stimulation, because the female vagina won't be able to provide that much stimulation on its own. So that can fuck you up long term. Anyways, the number one reason in which I haven't found a woman is because I don't know how to like communicate with people. The courtship, the dance of courtship requires a complicated maneuvers in which you don't actually say what you mean. And if you've noticed on this stream, I always say exactly what's at the top of my head at all times. So I have no fucking idea how to do like advanced communication required in men approaching women. Nor do I particularly plan to figure it out. It's too much work. I also have difficulty being around people for long periods of time. I was exhausted when my father visited this weekend. So I don't think I would be particularly happy living in the same location as another person. Ball-sama can't communicate. The difference between me and Komi-chan is Komi-san is that Komi-san is a cute girl. So eventually a Giga Chad Thundercock will find her and mating press her. And she doesn't have to say anything besides mumbling some stuff here and there. Actually, there's a lot of cute girls in Japan who can't communicate for shit, and they become femcells completely. But those people, they literally can't say anything. I'm like the opposite. I say too much. I can't shut my fucking mouth. I say things that I definitely don't need to say and definitely shouldn't say. Which is just as bad usually for communication. Are you circumcised? Always thought it was fucked how you all just get that in the US for no reason. I remember being really confused by American media talking about needing lotion. Please understand, the Jews want us to all chop off our foreskin. We need to do this for unknown reasons. It's just something that happens, okay? Of course, none of us get the option to say no. Luckily, I do have my foreskin, so that helps. However, I have wasted my penis sensitivity by jamming it into a futon, so... Girls get 200 hits a day and guys get 1 in 2 months. Yeah, it's bad. It's so weird how women are just as horny as men, and yet conventional mating practices make it so that women have to do nothing and sit around and they get men to contact them, and then the opposite doesn't happen. And yet, we have all this evidence showing that women also are in desperate need of human connection as well. I mean, you've seen these incel graphs where it's like... And then it goes like this shit, right? Except it's probably way worse than this. In Japan, it's more like this. Dating is scary and not worth it. Just stay in your room, Anon. That is also sort of part of the reason why I'm never having sex, because I'm fucking terrified of STDs. That's part of it. I'm like hyper risk averse. And a really easy way in which to get murdered or get like some incurable illness in modern society is by having sex. I've watched enough true crime to know that you tend to get murdered by people you know, not people you don't know, so... STDs are a fucking myth, bro. I've had friends who go through like 6 men in 4 months and they only have mental illness. Apparently, syphilis is going around in Japan right now. Oh man, this is gonna be super hard. I want to draw all the Darkstalkers characters as sort of like a blurry crayon image in the background of this fucking bee. But this is going to be like really difficult composition. I don't know, I have to really think about my primordial shapes like circles and squares and shit like that. I've been exposed to a woman almost ruining a guy's life through a random lie, false accusation. That's also part of it, right? If a woman is like, oh, he raped me, blah, 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 it's like, how are you going to prove that wrong? Unless you're just like, I literally have never met her. 1/3 of NYC has herpes. Yes, I would like to not have herpes. Just an idea. I'm hoping to avoid the herpes thing. I knew people in NYC who dated a different person per week, and by dated I meant slept with. Bizarre shit. Shit is terrifying. Some people are just extroverted and they have to meet people all the time or else they can't be happy. I can never understand the extroverts and their fucked up social practices of constantly having to meet people. You don't need to ride their disco stick, LMAO. Look, man, all I'm looking for is a perfect Japanese trad wife woman who is sexy and beautiful forever and will love only me and doesn't care about the fact that my income is like $20,000 this year or whatever, and thinks I'm attractive and will cook and clean for me. Actually, she does not have to cook and clean for me. That shit is overrated as fuck. Sometimes my mother will like give me absolutely fucking horrible food. Like a few days ago, she served miso soup with a hamburger patty and like potatoes, pan-fried potatoes. And the miso soup tasted weird because she had put like some weird ingredients in it. The hamburger patty was like burned to a fucking crisp, like black, and it was charred on the inside. It wasn't charred on the inside, but it was like dry to the point it was inedible. All of the potatoes were also burnt. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. Also the broccoli, she also served broccoli which was undercooked. And she was complaining about everything she made, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Mom, nothing in this is edible. I ate all of it, of course, as usual. And then she was like, you know why nothing is good? Because I'm so busy. And I'm just like, Mom, I've said this a million times. You don't have to cook if you're too busy to fucking cook. I can make my own food. But she insists on cooking when she has her own cooking nights. And then she gets angry if it tastes like shit. And she'll be like, man, this is bad. And I'm like, yeah, you're the one who cooked it. She can actually cook very well if she wants to, but if she doesn't care, then she's one of those people that can't bake because she thinks she can like always improve on the recipe. So when she's having like a I'm not focused time, then she can fuck everything up as well. I just want to cuddle, that would be enough. Sounds like you're a low test male. Women want powerful alpha males, not low-test losers. Your mom sounds like she has ADHD. No, she doesn't have ADHD. She's just like an insane workaholic. This woman is like 76, 77, and she's still up to like 4 or 5 a.m. every night. I think on average she gets like 6 or less than 6 hours of sleep. Probably like 4 or 5 hours of sleep on average. She's like constantly pulling all-nighters to do like work-related shit. So the fact that she still tries and cooks, even when she clearly shouldn't be, explains a lot of why the food can be bad sometimes, which is why I'm like, why maybe you shouldn't cook if you're busy. But she can't help herself. How can I be like her? She's just like one of those high energy people. Unfortunately, I got my father's genetics in which I'm low energy person. If I had my mother's genetics and I was like a high energy version of myself, I'd probably be like a award-winning Japanese mangaka by this point. But because I'm low energy as fuck, it's taken way more time. I cook once a week. And by cook, I prepare food in some form or another. Be like the fairy tale author? Okay, but can anyone actually say the content of the stuff that he makes besides fairy tale and rave? The guy like spits out 80 pages, but it's 80 pages that nobody really reads or cares about. I mean, I'm sure somebody reads it, like, it's fine. I've checked out some of his stuff. It's perfectly fine, I guess. Literally the only thing I can tell you about Fairy Tail is that everyone wants to jack off to Erza losing to some random punks and forcing her to wear like a frilly dress and then getting like fucked in a back alley or some shit like that, so... Erza correction is crazy. She's really asking for it. What is it about the violation of powerful female characters that makes guys horny? The male sexual urge is deeply tied to our testosterone, which is an aggressive hormone. Thus, sex and violence are similarly tied together. As someone who was jacking off almost entirely to like Taimanin porn throughout my 20s, and now I can actually feel my testosterone levels going down and my horniness going down, and also my taste in porn becoming less aggressive as well. It's actually like pretty obvious that it's all just the hormones doing it. I can feel it now that I'm becoming you know, more vanilla oriented nowadays. I'm still affected by that one beach doujin with Satsuki from Kill la Kill, the military guy and the teacher. I think you were talking about the doujin author Kokuryugan, I believe is the name he goes by. Also, I've just become like super desensitized to media at this point because I've consumed too much media. That's what happens when you're fucking 40. Like, you've consumed too much media so it no longer hits hard anymore. He's a foot fetishist, so he's drawn a lot of doujins that involve like shogas getting their dicks stepped on and stuff like that as well. Alright. Trying to figure out how to fit all the other Darkstalkers characters in this empty space is going to be a lot of work, so I'm going to end the stream here. See you around. This picture is taking a super long time, but that's because I'm not actually working on it off stream. I'm only working on it on stream. I've been working on my commission off stream, so see you around, guys. Good night.